So in the previous video, we talked about how incredibly efficient Formula One engines are and how they can squeeze 1,000 horsepower out of their hybrid 1.6 litre six-cylinder engines. And it's just incredible what they do, but how do they do it? Well, as it's Formula One, it's complicated, of course. So let's try and break it down. First things first, they're turbocharged. So that obviously massively increases the output of the internal combustion engine. Also, they're hybrid. So there's the electrical component to the engine as well as the internal combustion engine. Now, regarding the internal combustion engine, they use something called pre-chamber ignition. And what that does is it allows them to use a very lean fuel mixture going into the cylinders ready for ignition. Now, in regular cars, that would be a problem and can actually seriously damage the engine, but it's good for fuel efficiency and it's good for power. So they figured out a way. It's very, very complicated. It broke my brain a little bit trying to understand how it works, but trust me, it's amazing. Another thing is compression ratio, and that describes how much of the air and fuel mixture is squeezed before ignition. That all happens within the cylinder. So it's a much higher compression in Formula One engines. Now, usually this leads to something called knocking if you use a really high compression ratio, but in Formula One they figured out how to do that without the knocking and the damage. Now, as part of the hybrid system, they have something called the MGU-H. Now, I made a detailed video on this a little while ago, so go back through my videos to look at exactly how it works. But it does a whole bunch of things, including sending power to the drivetrain, storing energy in the battery, and keeping the turbo spun up. So that is an incredible piece of technology, but they're getting rid of it. Now, why are they getting rid of it? Good question. They shouldn't be, in my mind, getting rid of it because it really is an incredible piece of tech, but it's complicated and it's expensive. So Formula One wanted to encourage more engine manufacturers to come into the sport, so they took this piece of tech out to make it a bit easier for them and cheaper and make them more competitive when they come in. So that's a little bit I'm not so sure about that. So next year when they have a 50-50 hybrid split and they don't have the MGU-H, now you can see why they're having a lot of problems getting the required amount of power for next year's car. So all in all of those things contribute to how incredibly efficient Formula One engines are.